Before Ichigo, before Aizen, before the 1,000-year blood war, there was one man whose name terrified the entire Soul Society. His name was Yhwach. But despite becoming the most feared enemy in Bleach history, Yhwach believed he wasn't the villain. He believed he was saving the world. To understand why, we have to go back over 1,000 years. Yhwach wasn't an ordinary Quincy. He was born as the son of the Soul King himself. But from the moment he entered the world, there was something strange about him. He couldn't see. He couldn't hear. He couldn't speak. He couldn't even move. To everyone around him, he appeared to be nothing more than a helpless infant. Yet anyone who touched him experienced something miraculous. Their injuries disappeared. Diseases vanished. Broken bodies were healed. Unknown to them, Yhwach wasn't truly healing anyone. He was giving away tiny fragments of his own soul. Those fragments granted strength to others. But when those people eventually died, every fragment returned to Yhwach, along with all the power, memories, knowledge, and abilities they had gained during their lives. With every death, Yhwach became stronger. This strange cycle eventually allowed him to walk, then speak, then conquer. Over time, people began worshipping him as a living miracle, and from those followers, the Quincy Empire was born. Unlike Soul Reapers, the Quincy didn't purify hollows. They erased them completely from existence. That created a dangerous imbalance between the worlds of the living and the dead. To preserve reality itself, Soul Society declared war. The conflict was devastating. Thousands died. Entire armies vanished. But even the combined strength of the Gote 13 barely managed to stop Yhwach. 1,000 years before Bleach begins, Captain Commander Genryusai Yamamoto finally defeated him. But Yhwach wasn't truly dead. His power entered a long period of recovery. The Quincy even had a prophecy. After 900 years, his heartbeat would return. After 90 years, his intellect would return. After 9 years, his strength would return. And after 9 days, the world would belong to him once again. For an entire millennium, the surviving Quincy waited in secret, hidden within the shadows of Soul Society itself, building an army unlike anything the Soul Reapers had ever faced. The Stern Ritter. Each one personally granted a fragment of Yhwach's soul, each one receiving a unique power known as a Shrift. When Yhwach finally returned, he wasted no time. The first invasion of Soul Society was an absolute massacre. Captains who had stood undefeated for centuries were effortlessly overwhelmed. Bankai were stolen. Entire divisions were destroyed. Even Yamamoto, the man who had defeated Yhwach 1,000 years earlier, was cut down without mercy. But conquering Soul Society wasn't Yhwach's true objective. His real target had always been someone else. The Soul King. The being responsible for maintaining the balance of every world. To Yhwach, that balance wasn't peace. It was a prison. He believed the Soul King had been reduced to nothing more than a lifeless tool, a god stripped of his own freedom. So Yhwach did the unthinkable. He killed his own father, then absorbed the Soul King's power for himself. At that moment, Yhwach became the single most powerful being in Bleach history. With an ability known as the Almighty, he could see countless futures before they happened, and even rewrite them. To Yhwach, defeat no longer existed. If a future didn't benefit him, he simply chose another one. It was an ability so overwhelming that almost nobody believed it could be beaten. Yet despite possessing near absolute power, Yhwach still had one weakness: overconfidence. As the final battle reached its climax, Aizen trapped Yhwach inside Kyoka Suigetsu's perfect illusion, causing him to misread reality itself. At the same time, Uryu Ishida fired the silver arrow forged from still silver, briefly stopping the Almighty from functioning. That single moment created an opening, one future where Yhwach could actually lose, and Ichigo Kurosaki took it. With one final strike, the Quincy King fell, not because he lacked power, but because for the first time, he could no longer control fate itself. Even after his defeat, Yhwach's influence never truly disappeared. His Ryatsu lingered long after his death, proving just how terrifying his existence had become. To some, Yhwach was the greatest villain Bleach had ever seen. To others, he was a revolutionary trying to free the universe from an imperfect system. And that's why, even today, fans still debate one question: was Yhwach truly evil, or was he simply trying to create a better world through the only means he believed possible?